So this is Western Recording, and it was recorded in Los Angeles, California, and it is located, or it's being shown, in the Museum of Modern Art in Vienna, Austria. And the artist responsible for the work is Matthias Palladina, and he's Austrian. And the medium of work, it was filmed with 16mm film, and this is a contemporary piece of art. And the historical relevance of the work is that this installation was filmed at a recording studio in Los Angeles that actually has remained unchanged since the early 1960s because of its special sound. And this installation is really meant to question the perception, especially when it comes to music, because it just looks like it came from the 60s, but it was actually made in 2003. So how long did it take to create? I couldn't find really a timeline, but it was released in 2003. And this work is important because it is an unusual representation of music history due to the fact that it depicts the rehearsal process with all of its flaws and repetitions left in the recording rather than showing us like a polished end result like a song. It's just very different. Defining characteristics of this work, I think that the most defining characteristic is that this is like a perfect time capsule of the 1960s and 70s. I mean, they even have the singer dressed like he just looks like he's straight out of the 60s. And of course, the recording studio has remained unchanged. So it's just like a time capsule. I think that that's so cool. And historical contributions of the artist, Matthias is best known for his films and film-based installations, due to his reference to traditions and techniques used in cinema. So he really does like to play on kind of like this old versus new in cinema, or how, as we see in the Western recording music. A personal observation, like mentioned in Why Is This Work Important, the fact that they kept in all of the mistakes and the artist having to go back and forth, like trying to redo pieces of the song, I think is like very interesting. And I don't think that I've ever seen like maybe like behind the scenes of an artist where they kept those things in. And yeah, but the whole experience, being able to sit in that room, it really felt personal. It was like I'm in the 1960s and I'm sitting here, I'm watching somebody record this song in the 60s, which I think is just really, really cool. And I chose this work because I am very into the 60s and 70s. I live with my grandparents. That was their heyday. I drive a 1965 Mustang. So like I have a very deep connection to this time period. I really hold the music and its culture like very, very dear to my heart. And yeah, seeing the way that this artist was dressed up reminded me of my grandparents and like the pictures of my grandpa from that time, because like that's how they dressed, and I just thought it was so cool. And how does it compare to other works within the period? I feel like contemporary art is a very broad period, but it seems to use a lot of new media such as video use, which I think Western recording encapsulates perfectly as it's on film. And I feel like this is a very experimental art piece, so I think that it does fit in with the overall characteristics because contemporary art is experimental and it's meant to make you think. And fun fact, Matthias has lived in Los Angeles for 20 years, so he moved in 3 years before he recorded this.